Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel, ToucheTashe. I'm here reviewing My Killer Body with K Michelle. So let's get into it. So episode 2 is titled Botched by God with Betsy, the age 37, and Fed Up with Marlena, age 32. So we're gonna start with Betsy. So Betsy is married and has one daughter, and she had a botched breast lift and breast augmentation. So what prompted her into getting her breast done, when in her childhood she was raised by her grandmother. Now, not to be mean, she looked like a hard 37. A hard 37. Because I'll be 33. And I was like, sheesh, like she's not that. She's like 5 years older than me. I'm like, oof. Like a little hard 37. But her story touched me the most out of the 4 people that we were following within the 2 episodes. Her story, like the whole episode, I was like, I hope she gets what she wants, because her story was crazy. So she has a condition called emancia. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but I'll put it on the screen so you can see the word. So basically, she grew up with breasts that were asymmetrical. Her left breast was the size of a C cup and her right breast was the size of an A cup, and she got made fun of it. They used to say she was one itty bitty titty, and I was like, that's a little fucked up. That's a little messed up there. It's a little messed up. So that's what she meant by botched by God, because like they say they want you to, people to be like, oh, be happy what God gave you and things like that, but God literally gave her 2 lopsided breasts, and you see it in the clip. Like one breast sat really low, and they were typically very small. It was like a small C cup and a small A cup, like small, and it was visible. You visibly see it. So I understood, like, you want to get that taken care of. So although her being married, you still want to be secure within yourself, whether you're with somebody or not. Her husband loved her for who she was. Obviously, they've been together for 10 years. They have like a 5-year-old daughter, but still, you want to still feel good when you take your clothes off, put your clothes on. She just was, feeling self-conscious about herself. She had to wear 2 sports bras. That's a bit obsessive. So of course you will want to tune up the girls. So her husband saved up her some money and surprised her with a boob job, and which I thought was sweet, because he loves her, obviously, but it's like he wants to make his wife happy. So why not pay for her to get her boobs done, and she could, feel comfortable and confident and wear 1 bra instead of wearing like 2 bras at a time. So Betsy sits down with K Michelle. They go to a little restaurant, and she starts to tell K Michelle her story. So as we know, K Michelle had her breast done as well. I'm gonna start off, I didn't even mention it in the last video. K Michelle looks good. K Michelle looks good. That was a whole nother thing. But they were talking about her face, like, oh, what did she do to her face? I thought K Michelle was very beautiful before, like the way her face looked before and the way her face looks now. She looks beautiful. She was always a very pretty girl to me. I've seen her in person. She's beautiful. She's genuinely a pretty girl, genuinely a beautiful woman. No matter what she did to her face, no matter what she did to her body, she was very pretty, very pretty. What she looks like on TV, she looks like that in person. So she's very, very pretty. I thought she was a really nice looking woman. But besides that, so Betsy sits down with her and she explains to her horror with her procedures. So she mentioned that her procedure was 45 minutes, which threw me off because my BSG was 45 minutes, and she had a breast lift and a breast augmentation. And I found that strange. I'm like, they did your breasts in 45 minutes. It's 2 of them. 45 minutes, that sounds pretty rushed. She said when she walked into the doctor's office, it was like 10 people in the room, and they were like, okay, we're gonna do you first. And it's like, that's weird. When there's a surgeon doing a procedure, a short-term procedure, something less than an hour, there's typically other people that they'll be working on throughout the day, but it's organized. It's very organized. So there's other doctors, there's other nurses checking in on you, doing all these things, making sure that you're good. So I found this strange that they just like, okay, we'll take you. Also, she didn't have a consultation. I don't recall her mentioning that she had a consultation for her breasts. augmentation, which is a red flag, because how is a doctor supposed to work on you if they don't know what you look like beforehand until they see you on the table? That's very strange, because typically when you go into get a medical procedure, you sit down with the doctor, they talk to you briefly, and I know when it comes to the body, they want to look at your body before they call themselves cutting into it. So the fact that she didn't find that alarming shows that she didn't do extensive research or question anything. She just was like, okay. And there are people like that. They want things done, but they're afraid to ask questions. They don't know where to begin. They're misinformed. So they don't take the initiative, especially when it comes to their life, because this is a life or death thing. Anytime you go under the knife, I will say this in every video, anytime you go under the knife, it's a life or death. Whether it be for your health, whether it's for cosmetic and vanity purposes, whether it's for your health to advance it, it's life or death. It doesn't matter. So there's no judgment on our part, because I feel as though if you want to get your butt done, do the research, do it to where it is beneficial and you'll be healthy. If you want to get weight loss surgery, you want to get your boobs done, you want to get your nose done, you want to fix your fucking hairline, whatever it is, just make sure you do your research, because once they start cutting and injecting and putting things into your body, it can still go wrong. It can still go wrong if anything, heart transplants, anything, any type of surgery, it can go wrong. So from me listening to her story, it sounds like she did not do extensive research. Do your research when your life is at stake, basically. Do your research, because you don't want to die off of, because even if you do your research, you can still, anything can happen. But it's the fact that this story in particular, from how she was speaking to K. Michelle, you can tell that she didn't do a lot of research. But her story is really touching, because I'm pretty sure if she had C cup breast or the A cup, she would have been fine. It's just the fact that literally they were asymmetrical. One was here and one was there, and they were two different sizes. I for sure want to get that taken care of, because your bras don't fit. Like one of my breasts is larger than the other. It's not like Betsy's or Busy's. It's not like hers. It's just something I noticed as I got older, when my breasts got larger, and I was like, okay, one of my boobs are bigger than the other. No one else can see it unless I point out, like, yeah, this one is bigger than this one, and I could tell the way my bras and my clothes fit. So I understand. But luckily for me, it's very subtle. For her, it was very, very noticeable. If you watch the show, you will see you can see the difference clearly. But the sad part about her story is that she did not educate herself beforehand on getting the work done. Back to her procedure being 45 minutes, K. Michelle was stunned by that, because K. Michelle had a few different breast augmentations. She didn't really have any complications besides one of her breasts rupturing. She had to go get that corrected, and it looks good. Like K. Michelle looks good, y'all, for real. So during K. Michelle's and Busy's sit down, K. Michelle really resonated with her because of the struggles that they had in relation to the breast, because I mentioned that K. Michelle's breast ruptured, and she was like, I'm fully in depth with breast augmentation. So K. Michelle was stunned and blown away by what was being shared with her. And it goes back to me sitting there looking, I'm like, she didn't do a lot of research with what she has going on. She did not do that. And it goes back to the doctor's office, because remember this, the episode goes back and forth in between each story, but I decided to share one story at a time to not throw myself off. So when Betsy was going to consult with the doctor, mind you, I think that the girls had the same doctor from what it looked like to me, because the guy looked the same, because they both were in the Florida area, because we saw both procedures being done. So I'm assuming they had the same doctor, or they were at the same doctor's office, something similar, I'm pretty sure. But she went to the doctor, and he was stunned by the information that she was sharing with him, as far as like putting her own needle in, and how They didn't clear up her wounds properly. When she sat with K. Michelle, she wasn't even fully awake when they took her out of the operating room. She wasn't in the recovery room. They put her in a car, which is odd. She was urinating, and she said she was urinating and throwing up on herself, rejecting, trying to dump whatever they put in her body as far as anesthesia, which anesthesia can make you sick and you can vomit it up. That happened to me when I had surgery. I was throwing up all of the anesthesia, which was crucial. It was tough. It was very tough for me. That's the first time I've ever felt like that, for me to be under anesthesia, and I've been under anesthesia multiple times for different types of procedures. None of them in relations to cosmetic surgery, by the way. But if you're curious of any work that I had done, I think I was under anesthesia for surgery for injections in my back, because I had a really bad car accident where my spine was not aligned. So I had pinched nerves. So they put me under anesthesia so they can relieve the pinched nerves. So I was under anesthesia for that one accident about 3-4 times. So when they say don't drink or eat for after 12, that stuff is for real and severe, like, because they can't administer the anesthesia properly because you were eating, drinking the night before. You have to be on a complete empty stomach. I'm not really sure as of why, but it's a big deal. But the fact that she was still unconscious and they put her in a car is beyond me, and that is so scary. So her husband tried to help her out, and it was just, the whole story was just off. Her whole story was very tragic. It was very sad. It was scary, and the fact that she made it thus far to having her breast augmentation, and she just had really, really bad scarring. The fact that she's still alive is a thing. The fact that she's still here with us is commendable, because that could have took her out. That could have took her out for sure. Like, she was infected in both of them. In both of them, she was infected really, really bad, and they did not handle her with care. And that's the sad part. Like, it's very inhumane. They did not handle this woman with care whatsoever. So she sat with the doctor, and they were going to correct the work that she had done, which turned out successful. It's not going to be 100%, obviously, because she had really, really bad scarring, and the breast pockets she didn't have a lot of skin in that area. But they basically took the breast implant out. Threw them out, because no matter how much you can clean around the area, what they say is the implant is damaged, is tainted at this point. It's like when you say, if you're in a doctor's office and they're doing any type of thing on you, they put a band-aid, they drop the band-aid on the floor. No matter how sterile the office is, they will still toss that band-aid out and get a new one because it's already contaminated. And unfortunately, like, a lot of these offices, they skip practices, they skip steps, they skip protocol out of saving time, saving material, and that's not good. So you need to, like, do your research and spend the money to be with prestige doctors. But unfortunately, sometimes things can still go wrong, because you can still have a prestigious doctor, but unfortunately, the way your body receives the implant or something foreign, it's still a foreign substance in your body, which you can still reject. It could be medical grade, all of those things, and you can still reject it. But unfortunately for her, they mishandled her 100% from the beginning to the end. And that goes back into the fact that she did not do her research prior to this particular office, because she did not describe about her doing her research, especially when it comes to her not having a consultation in the beginning. I'm pretty sure she did not do her research. I'm just convinced by that. But she was satisfied with the work done at the end. She was satisfied. They looked symmetrical. There was still scarring from what we saw, because she was a white woman, so you see, like, the red scarring as far as, like, typically with white people, depending on their hue. they have red or brown scarring, but for her she had red scarring. But they were even. And it's not like she's gonna be running around with topless. It's just the fact that the breasts look nice, and I'm pretty sure after a while it will heal, and she looks good. She's not self-conscious around her husband because that's the only person that we see in her breast. She could play with her daughter because that was an issue as well. She would play with her daughter because her daughter was smaller. So you know the small kids, they jump on you, and her breasts were still in pain. So she couldn't adequately play with her daughter the way she wanted to. So her story ended out well. So she was happy with her results. Her husband was happy. There was no more complications because the doctor, I forgot his name, but he did a really good job with her. And she was happy with her results. And I was happy for her too, because now you can put on your clothes. You can wear one bra at a time. You don't have to worry about having one breast up here and one down here anymore. And they're not in pain. So I hope to this day, whenever this was filmed, I hope she's fully happy and wearing the clothes she wants to wear, being able to play with her daughter. There's no limitations because of her breast, and everything is copacetic, you know? Now, going into the next story, we're following Marlena, age 32, and she had a butt augmentation, butt shots, back in 2011. And back then, it was beyond me. I didn't know anything about butt shots and things like that because I grew up with like a nice backside, so that wasn't a thing where I'm from. But that's back when it was illegal, before a BBL. She got silicone shots in her rear end, and I'm thinking she's in Florida as well. So we're following her story back in 2011. She went and got her butt shots, but she was out, you know, dipping in and doing it. We're around the same age, so I'm pretty sure she was outside, because I was outside. I was partying, I was clubbing, out dancing and shaking. I'm not sure if she was an exotic dancer for the most part for her to get that, but she was outside popping, looking like the life of the party, and she wanted to make sure it was extra shaking back there. So her nail tech gave her this doctor's office to get her butt shot, so she thought it was legit. Now, typically when we hear about butt shots, we think that it's in some hotel. That's usually how it's some shady environment, or like in a basement somewhere sketchy. The place where she went to go get her butt shots was looking like an authentic doctor's office. They showed her around, showed her the medical room in which she would get her procedures done. So you would think that it's legit, like, it make you feel comfortable, you know? Like, sure, I'm gonna get this done. So out of her siblings, she was the one that didn't have a large backside. So when I'm starting to notice about, like, when it comes to butts, so from some women, I don't have hips. I wasn't a hippie girl, but I had a butt. So when you see me from the front, you would just see no hips and things. But when I turn, you will see the butt. So with her, she looked like she had cheeks, but she didn't have like the C cup. You turn to the side and you see the back. So that's the thing from seeing it from the side of the bow. Because to me, she looked thick. She looked a thick girl. She was cute as well. She looked like she had hips, but a lot of girls will have hips and their butt is wide, but it doesn't have that C. That's the look we want to see. I no longer have that. I lost a lot of weight, so my butt is very petite at this point, but it's not about me. But I like this show. It's a really good show because it takes me back to myself. It makes you think about yourself and your insecurities and things that you want done, and it's still informational, and that's why I like it. Outside of like the cutting and the incisions where I'm like hiding my face, but as for the most part, I'm not. It's very informational and it's a great show, and I'm happy for K. Michelle that she's able to help other women and get back in the spotlight. And this sees a different side of K. Michelle. It's like she's continuing to be vulnerable in each moments with the people that she sits down with. So back to Marlena. By the way, Marlena's name is really pretty. I like that name. It's like an older name, not like it sounds a little older, like Maria, or like a Marie. Marie is pretty. Certain names to me sounds mature, but still a beautiful name. For instance, Marie. Marie is beautiful. I think her name is very beautiful. My aunt name is Marie. and Evelyn. I think Evelyn is a beautiful name, along with Marlena. I was like, oh, that's a nice name. It sounds mature but beautiful. Like you can have a beautiful certain names sound beautiful. Marlena sounds like a beautiful name, and it fit her. She was a vibely young woman. Looked like she's fun, good time. Thing fits her, very beautiful. So back to Marlena. So she had these butt shots back in 2011, which are illegal. Silicone, illegal. Reminiscent of the first story from the last episode that I reviewed. She had butt shots, but for Marlena, she didn't start experiencing pain until like 6 years in. She started to see divots in her backside, and her butt started to look, I would say, cottage cheese-esque, where it wasn't round and youthful and sitting up high. It started to create deposits in her backside. So towards the cheeks, it would be like these weird posits, and that's where I guess the silicone rested at the time, and it was giving her pain and discomfort. So no one would touch her, according to her, as far as trying to correct the work that she got done. So in 2017, she decided to do something else to herself. And mind you, all her procedures were vanity driven, versus Betsy's was to even things out, which is understandable, which is kind of vanity in a sense, but nobody wants to walk around with things that are not matching to where when you put on clothes it's uncomfortable and things are not fitting properly. So you want to get that done. To me, visually, it was nothing wrong with Marlena, but you do what you want to, you do what's best for you at the time. Unfortunately, she took a dangerous route. So she thought would be beneficial to her, and to mask the issue that she already had, she decided to get more work done and got a tummy tuck in 2017, which ended up horribly, like sung from the episode 1, discoloration, skin falling off. She got infected because at the end of the day, she still had an infection from the butt shots that she had prior. Because eventually, it's a lot of people that have butt shots with foreign substances in their backside. It's a lot of women that have those procedures done, and probably the first couple of years you're all right, but when you get into you're doing something in your early 20s, and then 10 years later or so, 5 years later or so, you're starting to feel complications. Well, yeah, of course it's all good in the beginning. For her, for a few years, she got it off and she was chilling, you know, shaking that ass, because that's why she got it done, from what she said. You know, it started to affect her, where it started to spread. So the doctor that she sat with, he said, you know, when you have the syringe in your backside, they put it in, inject whatever they have to inject in your backside, and as they're pulling it out, the rest of the silicone starts to disperse and spread out as you're pulling out the needle, which makes sense. So the show is very informative. If you're interested in any type of procedure when it's relations to cosmetic, for sure watch this. I'm pretty sure it's a lot of it, but this gets down into the gory side of it, and I think it's a good watch. I'm thoroughly enjoying the show. So she sits down with K. Michelle and she talks about the work that she has done. So she has the shots in her butt. So she planned on getting it liposuctioned out, but what stopped her from getting it liposuctioned out was watching K. Michelle's story, because K. Michelle got hers liposuctioned out, which is the worst thing that you can do. So K. Michelle is actually out here saving lives, y'all. She's actually out here saving lives, because this girl saw her and was like, I want to do that. I should do that. And it was like, no. But for Marlena, which is typical for a lot of women that get butt shots and they try to go get it removed, a lot of people will not touch them. A lot of licensed and doctors with credentials and high standings within their practice, they will not touch patients like that, because it's like, you want me to recorrect something, but you're not going to stain my reputation. So it was hard for her to get someone to touch her because of the butt shots. So for her, the one doctor that cleared her for the tummy tuck, it wasn't a good idea because she was already infected and she still suffered in pain. So the point of her getting her work done, she wants to remove the butt shots where her butt is disformed because her butt really looked lumpy. Like in her clothes, her booty looks good. It looked nice and shapely and round, but when she took her clothes off, like deposits of fat or silicone in her butt was not appealing. The best way I can describe it is cottage cheese. Like just lumpy all over. And then she was cute and I was like, oh, that sucks. Like I'll imagine it's painful. I would really imagine it's really, really painful. So she sits and talks to so K Michelle kind of got the gist of this girl, like, you know, just be happy with the way you are, because if it's for vanity purposes, it's not worth it. So what I gathered from Marlena's story is that all her procedures were vanity driven. And unfortunately, the day and age, especially back then, that's when it started getting like, that's when the curvy was the thing, when everybody wanted to have the big butts and be like Melissa Ford and the video vixens around that time, because I was outside around that time, so I got it. So if you was slim thick, you got attention. So it was a thing. That's when the wave of the girls popping up with all these asses, and it's like I never seen all these girls with all this ass. Like I've seen girls with shape because I have a nice shape as well, but it started to be excessive. Like all these girls are having shapes, and then it got to a point where people that I used to see prior with a certain shape, and you see them with another shape, it's like, since when is your butt big? But I didn't really think about it. It's not my body. It's not my issue. Like my body is my body, so I wasn't really focusing on what other people had going on. But after a while, in 2010, 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, you'll start to see the girls popping out thick. It's like, since when? Since when, sis? Like, it was a thing. It was lucrative. It was lucrative at the time. And unfortunately, a lot of girls were going the illegal route and getting all these things done. And Marlena succumbed to that to try to keep up with the Joneses, and almost lost her life. Another person. So along with the butt augmentation that Marlena got in 2011, she decided to go get a tummy tuck in 2017, because alongside of that, she's trying to keep up with what was in trend at the time. So she wanted the large behind, the flat stomach, and that was a way for her to instantly get it. So I was looking into that before I decided to go through the weight loss procedure that I got. I was looking into getting a tummy tuck or lipo and things like that, and I did not want to go through invasive procedures and that healing process and the extra scarring. I just was not interested in that, because I was working out. I was working out at least 3-4 times a week, sometimes twice a day, and I gained muscle, but I still had fat on top of the muscle, which was the struggle for me. And I feel like that kind of was the struggle for Marlena, because she was not a large woman at all. Like, she looked like she was under 5'5". It's just that she was like full in the face, like full, and that can go a part of the food that you're consuming: sugar, starch, alcohol. Sugar and alcohol is the thing, and I'm pretty sure she probably suffered from what I was dealing with, not willing to get rid of sugar wholeheartedly. And a part of getting rid of sugar is getting rid of alcohol as well. So if she was outside partying and dipping it and do it, she was drinking. And sugar is nothing but starch and alcohol, I think. But for sure, sugar. Nothing but pure sugar. It breaks down into sugar. And that's what gains you all the excess weight. So she wanted a quick fix. So she was trying to get in and get out, the quick fix. And unfortunately for her, it caused her complications. So along with the butt shots, she went and got a tummy tuck. Nobody wanted to touch her, right? So she decided to go get a tummy tuck to look at something else. And that was a fear for me, dialing back, me watching the show and thinking about the things that I wanted to do or thought about doing, is looking at other things. Oh, that was a big thing I was afraid of. Like, oh, if I go get one thing done, I might want to look at something else. I want to look at my chin, look at my arms, look at my back, look at my thighs, because with each section, it's money, it's costly. So typically when you go get cosmetic for surgery, they look at a specific area that what you're trying to focus on. So she got her butt done back then before BBLs were popular, so she didn't go through it the best route. So then she decides to get a tummy tuck, and I don't think she has children, which is sad. I don't have kids either, so I get it. It's like you're thick in a certain area, but typically it's probably from the sugar and the alcohol. That's why we have the bellies that we have. And there's a lot of discipline. A lot of discipline. I will talk about it more. If you guys are interested, you can comment below if you're interested on how to cut out, because it's just strenuous thing. Like, it's a full-on lifestyle change. And for me, I've done a facets of different things before I decided to have weight loss surgery to get to a space where I want to be and to go forward and continue to work on the body that I am currently in, which I'm not even a year in at this point. So it's still a lot of work to be done, and it has changed for me drastically. I was not expecting for things to go as fast as it has came across for me to lose the weight that I did. And I was like, wow, I didn't really have to do much to get to this. I don't have sagging skin or things like that. Certain areas where there's areas I need to work on because of the procedure, but for the most part, I don't have sagging skin. So it was literally just bloating for me. So if you're really curious about it, because I'm pretty sure there's a lot of women out there like me, they're just afraid because the thing is, oh, I don't want to lose my butt. I don't want to lose the things that, it's like certain areas where the fat is and they sit and you like it. But like your belly, your face, your arms, your thighs, certain pockets, like the side boob, you don't like that. So typically it depends on your body type and the elasticity of the skin, in which you can kind of get an ideal of where your body's going to be when you lose all the weight. But lucky for me, I'm one of the lucky ones. I don't have to do removing any skin for me. I'm still young and I don't have any children, which plays tribute to that. So I lucked up with that. Okay, so going back to another scene with Marlena, because remember, the show is going back and forth in between the two people on the show, which is Busy for the first segment for her breast lift, and Marlena with her butt job and her tummy tuck. So it's going back and forth throughout the episode between the both of them. So this scene is with Marlena, and we meet her boyfriend, because she does have a partner with her. His name is McKinley, I'm pretty sure. And he's reluctant about the surgery. He's not really a fan of it. So what we find out briefly from him is that he was married and he lost his wife. We don't know how he loses his wife, because at the end of the day, the show's not about him, it's about Marlena. But these shows make you want to get into, like, why are you so upset? Like, how did you lose your wife? Did you lose your wife in a similar manner? But the fact that he's showing some considerably amount of care and concern towards Marlena shows that he genuinely cares about her. Visibly, you can tell that he doesn't really want to talk about he's still choked up about it, because that's still traumatic, you losing a partner. And it's the fact that it was his wife, someone he married. From him, he said it was his wife. It's something to be shook up about, and he clearly cares about Marlena. And she's looking at it as we go on about Marlena's journey. Her whole purpose is a vanity purpose. This situation is fully, strictly vanity versus the other story with Busy. Hers was because she was deformed upon birth as she got older. Because when we're born, we're flat chest, and then as we get older, as women, we grow breasts. So you don't know until you're liable to grow breasts to realize, like, oh, something is typically not right, because it's a medical condition with a full ass name. So how would you know? So for Marlena, it was for strictly cosmetic and vanity purposes, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're gonna do that, it's a gamble, and it makes you like kick yourself in the behind when you do something strictly for vanity purposes and it does not work out in your favor, and you're just adding extra complications upon what you had before and you were fine prior, which was her tummy tuck in 2017. So she wants to correct the tummy tuck and remove some of the silicone out of her backside. Her boyfriend is not really feeling it, but he's going to support her. So obviously she's going to need support and somebody to take care of her. Luckily for her, she has siblings, which is nothing. This is the scene that blew me for Marlena. I'm gonna cut out the boyfriend stuff. Like, that was a cute scene, but from Marlena, when she met up with her brother, I was like, oh, that's her brother? Okay, hey brother, hi. It was kind of cute, whatever. That's besides the point. Cause I'm like, who is this? Cause she just met with a man, but she said she was the youngest out of her siblings and she was the favorite. So clearly, I'm pretty sure she's the lit favorite out of all of the siblings, which is cool, whatever. But what blew me about Marlena, and I remember I wrote this down. She wants to get it corrected. Her brother doesn't understand why she went and got it done in the first place. And it's like, girl, you don't need a bigger butt to walk. And it's like, true. Like, it was nothing wrong with your body beforehand. So you wanted to go get a big butt just to get a big butt, just to fit in whatever was going in at the time, you know? And she was like, well, she was very defensive in a moment. And she brought up that he had surgery on his eyes. So I'm assuming he had LASIK. He's like, I couldn't see. So now, girl, you know good and damn well, LASIK eye surgery is not the same as getting a tummy tuck and butt shots. She tried it. She for sure tried it. She tried it in that moment. She was very defensive against her older brother. But it's like, it's a normal dynamic. If you're doing something that people do not agree with, you're gonna get defensive. But still, you're wrong, sis. And in the whole process for her, it was a whole vanity-driven thing for me, what I gathered from her. Everything was vanity. It wasn't about her safety. It wasn't about her health. It only became about her health because she couldn't walk, and it was discoloration and things like that. Because I'm pretty sure if her tummy tuck and her illegal butt shots was still active and moving and functioning, she wouldn't have been thinking about it. And that's the unfortunate part. As long as it's not causing you any issues, the girls will keep on doing what they gotta do. Because if it was another 3 to 5 years, she wouldn't have been complaining about no ass. Complaining about that ass that she done injected, you know? And it's no judgment, but it's still the fact of the matter at the hand. It's like, you went and got this work done. And the thing is, even when you go about the right way, I'm gonna put air quotes, the right way is BBL, you still need to maintain your body. You still need to maintain your body throughout that, because it's still foreign fat. Just because you're taking fat out your back and out your stomach and you put in your ass, although it is a part of your body, it don't belong there. It was no fat there. You're still injecting, because when they take the fat, they suck it out. They spin it or whatever, because I've seen it online where they take the fat, they do whatever they do, the plasma or whatever, and they inject it back in. It's still foreign substances. It still does not belong there. Your body is still reacting to this invasive procedure, so it's still not 100%. You can still struggle. Just because it's a part of your body doesn't mean that you can it's still A-okay. You can still go through complications. Shit, she just got a tummy tuck where they just took pieces of skin, cut it, and then tighten up her stomach, and she still received complications. She didn't, add anything extra, but that was on account of the fact that she had all those other procedures done with the butt shots, and the shit spread it throughout her body, which was still causing complications for her, and it didn't go well. So now she's had to recorrect and fix all these things. So I guess K. Michelle picked up on that. Outside of her talking to her boyfriend, he's still going to support her. He loves her. He wants her to be good, which is a good thing. You need these people in your corner because you need to heal. You need people behind you, versus different from the episode 1 where they had the people that they didn't. Okay, so my guard dog was barking, so I'm trying to remember where I left off. So I left off with Marlena talking to her brother. So skip forward to her seeing the surgeon to recorrect her butt shots, and how he talked about how he was going to take it out. So he explained to her it's like little pellets that he would have to go through and pick apart. It's not a simple procedure, and he looked at her body and saw where the tummy tuck was, and luckily for her, she still had a bit of skin to recorrect the tummy tuck, versus Sung had a lot of, didn't have enough of skin to recorrect. She didn't have enough elasticity in the skin because they pulled her pretty tight. So that's the whole point of the tummy tuck. So typically when people do mommy makeovers, you know, our bellies grow out, and then unfortunately for a lot of us, we don't have the snapback. For those who don't have snapbacks, we have the excess skin where it's extra flabby, like your stomach will go down, but you'll still have the extra skin. Like when you stretch a rubber band, it's the same concept when it comes to our skin. So they will just take that extra skin, remove it, pull up or pull down, and stitch it, and it will create a seamless flat tummy, so you don't have the extra skin. So with Marlena, she had a bit of extra skin that they were able to fix, so she didn't have excessive amount of scarring. And then for her backside, they were able to remove the small pockets in her bottom half of the butt. So it wasn't necessarily this top part, it was more so the bottom part where the cuff would be in the cheek area. That's where you would see the most of her divots and swelling. So back to maintenance after you do any type of medical procedure, especially when it comes to the body. A lot of women do not maintain their work. They think they just go get their butt done and go get their tummies done and get their breasts done and think that's it. No, it's a lifelong thing. Even though that I had the procedure that I have for weight loss, I still have to go work out because I'm a lot smaller, meaning that I'm still losing weight. I still have to tone up because I don't want flabby skin. But luckily for me, it's not like a lot here. So I still have to work on a bit of this here, and still in a bit here and a bit here, but it's still not a lot of work compared to people with larger bodies. So lucky for me, I lucked out on that. But whether if you go get it sucked out, or you get a weight loss surgery, or you work out, you still have to work. It's not a one-stop shop job. Even if you work out every day, you still have to continue. From when I used to really be excessive in working out and playing sports, before it was a weight thing, now it's like a chore, which sucks for us if it's not part of your lifestyle, which I am incorporating working out into my lifestyle currently. I do yoga, so if you're interested in that, I'm more than welcome in sharing my journey as far as like toning up and staying in shape, because I do a lot of yoga, I do a lot of strength training. I'm not into heavy lifting just yet, but I'm working on strengthening and lengthening my body. So that's why I'm heavily into yoga and meditation. Like it's my thing, like, and I could do it home. But I am getting back into the gym as far as like cardio, calisthenics, and things like of that nature. But you get your butt done, you get lipo, you still have to work out. You still have, even if you do not work out, you still have to go recorrect and maintain these procedures. There's a lot of other procedures and maintenance, not procedures, but maintenance for you to do amongst getting these procedures done. So it's not like, oh, I'm gonna get a BBL and that's it. No, you gotta maintain that, because it's still fat, and fat still sits a certain way, and you can still get cellulite, you can still lump up and things like that, because that fat was attached there. Even if you have a naturally large behind, you will still have to work out your butts. A lot of us are not blessed to just wake up and just be boom boom pow, especially as we age. It's not realistic at all. But no matter what you do, you still have to maintain your body. You have to maintain your health. It's an everyday thing. Mentally and physically, you have to maintain yourself. So unfortunately, with a lot of us, we want the quick fix, and I feel like that was a part of Marlena's thing. She wanted a quick fix. So we're going on and fast forward, she goes to get the procedure done. We see the work, because I'm pretty sure it's the same doctor as Betsy's doctor, because I think they were in Florida, and I would love to move to Florida. Sidebar, I would love to move to somewhere warm. I like tropical clothing, I love color. I'm in Jersey. I love color and things like that. I hate the winter. It's February now and I'm over it. Luckily we haven't had many snowstorms. We had like a little teeny mints of snow, but I'm just over it. Outside of that, Marlena, so she goes and gets her work done. So they cut open her butt, so they reconstruct her backside to where it's a bit appealing, so it doesn't have those extra pockets of silicone. Would it make it to cis? Of course, with these procedures, it's not going to be perfect, but it's close enough to where it's not odd looking. Because if you look at her procedure, as far as like the work that she had done prior to it getting it fixed, the way the deposits of the silicone settled in her backside, it didn't settle well. It did not settle well, meaning she was just living and moving, shaking and popping and not working on her body. So I'm pretty sure there are people that get work done and try to work on their body. I'm hoping that it'll be more stories like that in the future, where people try to maintain their maintenance and not wait till things excessively become an issue, but I don't know. So she gets that done and they show us the tummy tuck as well. So they're able to recorrect everything. So she shouldn't have as much scarring. I hope, I'm gonna try to find her. I'm gonna try to do an update with a lot of the women and possibly men, because mind you, this is episode 2, so we came across 4 women. So if I can try to find them, I would, and try to recap it, because you want to know how they are after surgery, because it's typically 2 weeks after, or it's no less than a month, no more than a month. It's typically like 2 weeks, but we don't know how they are 6 months after that, or like a year after. So I'm pretty sure this show is very current, in which is going on currently. So yeah, I'm gonna try to find these women, because I am interested to see how they are maintaining. Did they get more work done, especially for Sung from episode 1 and Marlena? I'm curious if they would get more work done. I'm pretty sure Busy is not getting any more work done, because her thing was just the breasts, because they were lopsided. So I'm pretty sure she's not gonna get anything done. But I'm more so curious for Sung and Marlena. Sung is from episode 1. Marlena's from episode 2. So I'm curious, because they were the ones speaking on possibly getting more work done. Marlena seems like she'll continue to get work done. She'll probably do more research to her Facebook groups. But she looked like she will possibly get more work done. I could be wrong. But I would say this one more thing about Marlena. She did share a letter she wrote to her family, just in case she met her demise in the midst of recorrecting the damage, or I'm assuming prior to her getting work done in general. And it was really heartfelt. I'm like, damn. And I thought it was a touching moment where everything went well and she ripped up the letter at the end of the episode. So yeah, it was a really great watch for me. I enjoyed the show, and I will continue to follow the series as long as it is available to watch. And once again, I am happy for K. Michelle to be out and about. I would like to hear music, because she could actually sing. She's one of the girls that could sing, but unfortunately her personality, I feel, is bigger than her music. But I feel like she's very dynamic, and I feel like she can do whatever. She can possibly act. She's beautiful, and she can sing, and she's entertaining in general. So I would like to see more of her by herself in other facets, and hopefully she comes out with more music. But it is what it is. If she is still able to showcase her talents, because I think she's a multifaceted person in general. She's not just a singer, she's an entertainer in general, because a lot of people are just singers. They're musicians, or singers, or musicians, or rappers, or artists. She's a full-blown package in my eyes. I feel like she's bigger than a singer. Although she's very immaculate and talented as a singer in different genres, not even gonna hold you, she's not just an R&B singer. She's talented in different genres, which I do respect about her. She's just not, she is more about her, and I'm willing to give that a chance with her, because I don't want to shut down, especially a black girl, a black woman. I'm not trying to just shut her down. Like, we have our moments where like, girl, and for a lot of the girls, a lot of the black girls, it's like, good night, like, I'm over it. But no, I want to see more of K. Michelle for sure, and this is another way to see her in another dynamic, because she's been through a lot. And I follow interviews with her, follow her on Love and Hip Hop, and this is another facet in her music as well. So I'm really interested to see what is more to come of her rebranding and things like that. Unfortunately, it had to be something traumatic that I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the first episode, something traumatic in which that we had to be reintroduced to K. Michelle, Kimberly. But I enjoy her, and I will be back for episode 3 shortly. I will be back for episode 3 and further episodes to come. So please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, ToucheTashe. I am Tashi. I do have a Twitter and Instagram, ToucheTashe. I'm trying to be more active on Twitter especially, but please sure to follow me. I'll have a couple of things in the description box below. If you are curious about my personal journey as far as like weight loss, I'm more than welcome to sharing it, because I feel like it's very informative, because I've been through a lot as far as like weight and confidence and things like that, and I'm more than welcome to share if you guys are truly interested. I can make a few videos upon it and things like that, as far as like visually, physically, my hair, things like that, especially with the struggle of being a young black woman. I'm more than welcome of being vulnerable and sharing my story, because I feel like a lot of people can relate to what I have going on. So I know I'm not alone. So I'm more than welcome to share if you're really curious. I'm 32, no children. I've had a few surgeries, medical surgeries and things like that. That's why I was like gung-ho on reviewing this show, because I was very, very intrigued, because some of these things I thought about getting done and still considering, like, I kind of want to get a breast lift. I don't have any kids, and it's like you have to be really smart about these decisions that you're trying to make. Like, is it worth it right now? Like, is it beneficial? Like, why are you getting it done? Like, you know, so like, for sure, like, it's some things that I'm more than welcome of sharing and talking about, and really get into some things. And outside of me reviewing this show, I want to review and talk about a lot of other things, and I feel like I wanted to get more into lighthearted topics. I feel like this is on the verge of like serious and lighthearted, but I'm more than welcome to do a little bit of everything. So if you're interested, stick around, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I try to be more speedy with the uploads and things like that, but I hope to hear from you guys, and thanks for sitting down with me, and I hope to, hear from you guys soon. So take care.